Well, would you look at that? It appears that I do still exist in this medium. It's been a long time. I'm not sure what prompted me to make this into a YouTube video. I just thought, perhaps it's about time I actually returned to the world of YouTube. And so, without further ado, I will read to you a blog post I wrote for my Facebook page today, titled Want or Want to Want. So, some neurodivergent people force themselves to act against their defiant nature because fitting in is sometimes safer than refusing to conform. Some children are so resilient in character and true to themselves that there's nothing the world can do to get them to conform. Other children, when they are masking, will abandon their truth, their natural way of doing things. They have poor self-image. I'm no good. I'm terrible. I suck at everything. I want to go to school. I want to read this book. I want to be interested in football. Hopefully then I will be liked, accepted, and successful. You get the picture. However, it's not so much that they want to do these things as it is they want to do them. This is an important distinction. It might be useful to see neurodivergent children as having their very own trajectory through life. Some of them are desperate to follow their own trajectory, but they are unable to due to the pressure from the outside world, pushing down on them, forcing them to do away with their trajectory and assume a more conventional conveyor belt to success. They are under enormous amounts of pressure to, for example, go to school, and are taught that in order to be successful, this is what they ought to do. The child may at this point say, "No, that's not the path for me, thank you very much," because they simply don't resonate with what they're expected to do. That isn't their path. They have a rough idea of where they are being pulled towards in their heart, but no one is helping them to find and follow this path. So, in the meantime, they stagnate, staying in their room, not coming out. They effectively withdraw from the world until someone can help them follow their own true trajectory through life. So that's one child. Other children say, "Fuck my own trajectory. I want to conform. I want to do my homework. I want to make friends with people who aren't actually right for me. But who cares? I want it to be that way." Despite how much conviction they speak with, they are battling with themselves. In their heart, they don't want to do these things, really. But in their head, they're trying to convince themselves of the opposite. They say to themselves, "I have to be like this. I have to be like this. I have to be like this." These children have essentially abandoned themselves. They want to cultivate a new them because their traumatic experiences have shown them that the real them is not fit for the world. Whilst some children can keep this up for long periods of time, masking away and further distancing themselves from themselves, others will fall at the first hurdle. They may, one evening, announce that they want to go to school. A parent, despite being surprised, sceptical and wary, may humour them. "Okay then, darling, but are you sure?" "Yes. Can we go tomorrow? Take me to school tomorrow. Please, you simply must take me," the child asserts. So these children are half abandoning their nature by this point. But then the next day comes. The parents go along with it, wake them up in the morning, assist them in getting ready, etc. "Okay, so are we going to school then?" the parent gently inquires. "Yes, I'm going to school. Yes, I'm going to school. Like I told you, I am going to school today." But then, as soon as they attempt to leave the house, "No, no, I can't do it," which is followed by the child darting upstairs to their room, slamming the door behind them. At the last minute, the child's truth, their authentic essence, pulls them back, prevailing over the mask or secondary self, and preventing it from growing. This is one of few eerie examples of a positive thing about children sequestering themselves in their room all day. At least they are preserving their authentic essence. Often it isn't as simple as, my child wants to go to school. It could actually be that the child wants to go to school. In their heart, they know it's not right. And that's what PDA is, an environmental barometer, which goes haywire upon detecting bullshit, upon detecting inauthenticity. It's there at the core of our being, but it doesn't mean we always trust or listen to the inbuilt bullshit detector. Sometimes we are confused. Part of us may buy the idea that going to school and being a regular person will bring us joy. Our traumatic experiences dictate that being ourselves will lead to danger. But it can't nourish our neurodivergent hearts. The inner conflict is so strong that it can be impossible to know who to trust. Our resilient PDA, or neurodivergent spirit, who can detect the faintest trace of bullshit, or the masked self who promises to protect me from further trauma. Some children may be able to pull it off, being someone else, for long periods of time before exploding, as though their inner truth will not stand to be neglected or downtrodden any more and forces itself back to the fore. Other children, on the other hand, simply can't. Perhaps these children haven't fully given up on their truth and haven't fully committed to the idea of cultivating a new self, fit for worldly use. But can the child's true trajectory ever be brought in conjunction with that of the schools, or with anything else, conventional or normal for that matter? Sometimes the trajectory will naturally align with school, and then one finds that the children will be determined to go to school in a different, more authentic way. We have to understand this process of the PDA current and how it is constantly moving around. If the PDA current aligns with the conventional path of school, the child will be able to move through it smoothly. This doesn't mean the child will remain here until they graduate. It could be for a mere term before they begin not going to school again, which is an indication that the current has moved. For other children, the PDA current doesn't align naturally despite the fact they want to go into school. And so what these children do is attempt to lug their trajectory towards the direction of school. But it can't happen. It's like trying to get two north ends of a magnet to meet. So the PDA current naturally migrates. There could be a time when it aligns with the education system, but if they're not there yet and the trajectories are poles apart, sometimes they will try to force alignment by dragging it over in the preferred direction, but they can't possibly do this. It's like trying to get two huge north magnets to meet, like I said. This is why the PDA current must be submitted to. This applies to the PDA as well as those around them supporting them. This is when self-imposed demands can occur, when we try and fight the natural ebb and flow of the current, telling ourselves to meet certain demands. Some children, for whatever reason, will always remain true to their trajectory, even when they stagnate, withdraw, don't find it, and therefore don't follow it. Some are lucky enough to find it early, though. One can only be happy for, and perhaps slightly envy, the PDA child who flows along their PDA current at an early age. Most are not that lucky. To sum it all up, a lot of neurodivergent kids recognise that school, for example, is not the right place for them, but they also recognise that they have no way of accessing their true trajectory either. And so they withdraw, they sit out, and they stay at home. These children have not abandoned their truth, but they haven't been shown how to live their truth either, hence the withdrawal over conformity. And then there are others who are desperate for school to be their true trajectory, even when it currently isn't, and might never be. Every time they try to attend school, they get snapped right back by their true self. Other children who want school to be their true trajectory may be able to pull it off for long periods of time before coming home and exploding. From there, their truth might hold them captive as a way of saying, "Don't do that again, I'm going to keep you inside now." These children have largely abandoned their truth before it comes back with a vengeance. Neurodivergent children might not want to go to school, however much they insist they do. They might actually want to go to school instead.